Progress.
Okay, good morning, friends. Shalom Aleichem. We have an interesting topic today. Daf Iyun Aleph Amud Beis. The bottom of the page said, quoting a pasuk in Shiurim, "Az hayisi be'einav k'moitzeis shalom." So first, Rabbi Glatstein said, like a kala, when she is found to be wholesome in her father-in-law's house, she runs back to speak her praise in her father's house. Then the Gemara darshans a pasuk in Hosea. It will be on that day, says God, you will call me your husband, you will not call me your master. Says Rabbi Yochanan, like a kala in her father-in-law's house, not like a kala in her father's house. When a kala is in her father's house, then her relationship with the husband is the master, because she doesn't have a closeness yet with the father. On the other hand, when the kala is in the father-in-law's house, so she is already intimate and close with the husband. Okay, so we have these two dargos of a kala in her father's house and a kala in her father-in-law's house. So what I want to discuss today is, what times are we to Hashem like a kala bebeis aviha, and what times are we kechala bebeis chamiha? And the answer is, when are we ever a kala to Hashem? Well, we know on Shabbos we're a kala to Hashem. Well, are there times that we're like a kala bebeis aviha, and sometimes we're like a kala bebeis chamiha? And the answer is yes. The Knesset Hagdola points out that our custom is Friday night we say v'yanuchu ba, Shabbos day we say v'yanuchu bai, and by Mincha v'yanuchu bam. The Knesset Hagdola says, I heard the reason is, Shamati atam, for ba, bai, and bam, is because the gematria of ba, 7, bai, 8, bam, 42, is 57 zan. Says the Knesset Hagdola, in my opinion, Shabbalel Shabbos oimrim ba kechala beveis avia. Friday night we're like a kala in her father's house. The ikar simcha of a kala when she's in her father's house is with her. The spotlight's on her. She's the kala. In the morning, she's already moved in. In the morning, she's kala beveis chamiha. So the ikar simcha is with the chasan. We say bai, and by mincha shneihem ikar we say bam. So we have this idea, Friday night, our relationship with Hashem is like a kala beveis aviha, Shabbos morning, kechala beveis chamiha. Now what's closer relationship, beveis aviha or beveis chamiha? The answer is beveis chamiha. So does that mean that the Kedusha of Shabbos day is greater than Friday night? Because in that case, let's say somebody is going to be wearing two suits on Shabbos. You know, people like to change their suit. Some people wear the same suit, some people wear different suits. When should you wear a nicer suit, Friday night or Shabbos day? Hey, I never thought about that. Well, let's see the Ar Chaim HaKadosh. Ar Chaim HaKadosh says, based on the Zohar, why does it say sometimes Shabbos soisai? Because there are two elements of Shabbos, Laila and Yom. The Zohar says, Da Shabbosa umali Shabbasa. Laila kayom miskadesh. Ulitzad shebechinas kedushas laila ino shav l'kedushas yom. The night is not equal to the day. Ki halaylahu bechinas or hamasyachis elav kala v'hi bechinas shamar. The night is the light that's attributed to the kala, the bechina of shamar. V'hayom hu bechinas or elyoin hamasyachis elav bechinas chasan hamashpia ba'or halayla ki yadu aliyodechein. And ulazeh yisachis elav zachar. That's why Friday night, Zohar says, is sudas laili, sudas chakal, tapuchin kadishin, usudas yom hi sudas atika kadisha avarachamim. Therefore, Shabbos day is called Kedusha Rabbah, the great Kiddush. Now, most people, if you ask, why is Shabbos day called Kedusha Rabbah, they'd say, the Ran says, because it's a lashon sagi nahar. The ikar kiddush is Friday night is dairaisa. Shabbos day is only midrabanan. So as a euphemism, we say Shabbos day kiddush is Kedusha Rabbah. But al pi Kabbalah, it's the opposite. The great Kiddush is Shabbos day, because the Kedusha of Shabbos day is greater. So it comes out, therefore, if the Kedusha of Shabbos day is greater, if you have a nice shirt, or a nice tie, or a nice suit, and you plan on switching it up Friday night and Shabbos day, which one should you wear nicer? Comes Rav Rachamim Yitzchak Falaji in the Yefei Lev, Chelek Hey, Kuntres Achron, Siman Reish Samach Beis. I searched for this, I see it quoted, I can't find where it is, but he's quoted as to say, Yesh Lilboish B'Yom Shabbos Begadim Noam Yishal Leil Shabbos the covered Yom Adif. It's better to wear nicer clothing Shabbos day than Friday night. So it comes out like this. For all you mikvah goers out there, many people go to the mikvah before Shabbos, Friday night. Why? Because you're being elevated to Kedusha Shabbos. Well then, should you go to the mikvah Shabbos day? Of course you should. If you go to the mikvah before Shabbos, then you should go to the mikvah Shabbos morning. Why? Let's see. The Kaf HaChaim brings from the Arizal. Oid kasav hara b'shar kavanos daf ein gimel be'inyan hatfila d'shachris Shabbos. That if a person was mekayim in the mitzvah of oina and he was tamei bekeri oy b'tasha mita, ein soyrech lahaskir ki hatfila az muchas, then it goes without saying you have to go to the mikvah. You know, because in the world of the Ari, you have to go to the mikvah if you're tamei. But even if you were not mekayim in the mitzvah of oina, aval afim lo yutzrach litbal l'siba hanizkares. Even if you don't have to go to the mikvah for the above mentioned reason. Tzarach litbal b'boker yom Shabbos. You need to go to the mikvah on Shabbos day. Why? V'hu ki b'dimyon mash v'yarnu le'el. Based on what we explained earlier, shetzarach litbal b'chol erev Shabbos. The Ari says you should go to the mikvah erev Shabbos lahafrish min hachol l'Shabbos, to differentiate between weekday and Shabbos. Kain sarach ata tefillah cheres. Now you need another tefillah. Ki hefresh gadol yesh ben kedushas leil Shabbos le kedushas yom Shabbos. There's a big difference between Friday night kedusha and Shabbos day. Shehu kedusha yisera. So listen to this. Aval hachil. Now, would it make sense to go to the mikvah before Shabbos and not on Shabbos? In a way, it's backward. Why? Because before Shabbos, you're going for one reason, namely for Kedusha Shabbos. But Friday night, if you're Mekayim Oina, you have two reasons that you need to go. The extra Kedusha of Shabbos day, and because you're Tameh. So in a certain sense, it's much more important to go to the mikvah Shabbos morning than before. Now this is all... Okay, don't leave now. You can't leave now because I'm not here to tell you when to go to the mikvah. I'm just pointing out there's a certain logic that going to the mikvah Shabbos day is much more important than going to the mikvah before Shabbos. Friday, so now the Kaf HaChaim says like this. Be'erev Shabbos hutzruch l'shtei tefillos. But now we're going to make the other way. Friday, you really need to dunk twice. The first time to remove the weekday clothing from your soul, meaning one immersion to take off the weekday cloak of your soul, and the second immersion to be Moshech Kedusha Shabbos. Shabbos morning, you only have to dunk once to bring upon you the extra added Kedusha of Shabbos day. But you're not removing the Kedusha of Leil Shabbos. So it comes out, Erev Shabbos, when you dunk, you should dunk twice. V'nei sham be'erev Shabbos bi'arnu kavana shtei tefillos. Aval ata she'ein sham rak tefillah achas, al techavin rak el kavana nizkar sham. Okay, bottom line is, Ari seems to be saying, Friday, you dunk twice. You have two kavanos. One to remove the big day choil, and one to be Moshech Anyu Kedusha Shabbos. Shabbos day, there's only one Kedusha, namely to be moishech on you the extra Kedusha of Shabbos day. I'm bringing this in just to substantiate the point that the Kedusha of Shabbos day is greater than Friday night. So it would come out, l'chayra, if you, according to Rabbi Yitzchak Falaji, if you have a nice tie, you're going to be wearing it once on Shabbos, don't wear it Friday night, wear it Shabbos day. What if you have a nice, good dish to eat? What if you have a nice treat for a covered Shabbos? Should you use it Shabbos, Friday night and Shabbos day? And I didn't see this anywhere, but according to Rabbi Chaim Falaji, according to Rabbi Yitzchak Falaji, you should have it Shabbos day, unless you say, well, it'll be more fresh Friday night. Now, once we're on the topic of going to the mikvah, it seems like, according to that Arizal, you need to go to the mikvah Shabbos morning. So now I just want to point out, that's the Arizal's opinion. The Gra's opinion is, you're not allowed to go to the mikvah on Shabbos morning. It's usr. It's a sin. What's the sin? Why are you not allowed to? And I know what you're thinking, because it has something to do with hot water. It has nothing to do with hot water. That's another problem. Whether you're allowed to go to a heated, that's a separate issue. Let's see, how do I flip, who could read sideways here? Let me see a second. I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to get you back on. Let's see if we could flip it here. How do you flip it? Okay, we're going to have to read it sideways.
We have the Rob, where you have the arrow to turning, you can flip it there.
Where? Show me.
Oh, okay. Now try where the three dots are on the top right. No. Okay. No. What the other screen that you had like an arrow. Go back to the other screen you had.
Okay.
You should be able to do it.
I'm going to download it again. This?
No, the other screen you had before. No. When you had the PDF file.
Okay.
Right before that, you had something you had.
This?
1 second. Yeah. Okay. You see there on the right, you have like an arrow. All the way on the right, they have an arrow with a circle. Go down.
Arrow with this? Yeah, okay, good. Shkoyach. There you go. Now let's make it bigger. How do we make it bigger? How do you make it bigger here now? Oh, this. Okay, here we go. It's smaller a little. Okay, here we go. So now, so again, the Ari says you go to the mikvah before Shabbos, you go to the mikvah Shabbos morning. The opinion of the Gra is, even if a person became Tamei Bekeri on Shabbos, it is asr to go to the mikvah. It's an avera. Why? So the Bir Halacha quotes, Shuv matzasi beber agra, this is in the Bir Halacha Shin Chavav, Shekasav Zelashainai, Adam, Ayin b'magavram. Here, okay, the first thing you need to know is the Mechaber in Siman Shin Chavav, I believe it's Sif Ches, says, Adam mutar litmo mitmas b'Shabbos. A person is allowed to be toivel for his tefillah on Shabbos. The Magen Avram brings in the name of the Maril and the Chumash Hadash and Tvi Machmer. Now the Gra says, no. The Gra says, Adam ayin Magen Avram v'ikar k'may shekasa beis Yosef b'shem Kalba Yishumas Hadash and Sha'isren. The Gra says the ikar is that one is not allowed to go to the mikvah for their tumah. V'chein kaz Magen Avraham sim kuf chav chesiv katan ayin sham ad kalashan v'nirli kavanasahu lefi ma shekasavnu. Do choylek ala Magen Avraham shekasav the mutra lekariyav, that the Gra argues on the Magen Avraham that you could be toivel for one's carry. V'zeu shekasav ayin b'Magen Avraham ritzon alaymer the kasav the tefillas carry motul koliyama. The Magen Avraham says that for carry everyone says you're allowed to v'siyam al zeh hagra, that the ikar is like the Beis Yosef. So alaymer that according to the Chumash Hadeshen that we're machmer on rechitza. And we don't do rechitza. So we don't do rechitza, then if a guy goes to the mikvah, it looks like masakin. And there's no difference between kari and other tumais, because he's being tahar, it's mechsik masakin. That's why the Magen Avraham, that's why the Gra says, look in the Magen Avraham and Sim Kuf Chav Ches, because there the Magen Avraham says that Kohanim on Yom Tif do not have relations with their wives, so that they could duchen b'tahara. Why? Because they don't go to the mikvah on Yom Tif. Because you're not allowed to go to the mikvah even for kari. You hear this? The Gra's opinion is that you cannot be toivel on Shabbos or Yom Tif. Even Kohanim can't be duchen if they're tameh. So Elamai, they go to the mikvah. The Magen Avraham says you're not allowed to go to the mikvah. So Kohanim are not making the mitzvah of oina on Yom Tif. Now this is very interesting. That's the shita of the Gra. The Gra holds you cannot now. Loimi boy, if a person's tahar, where the Gra would say you can't go to the mikvah, like the tefillah of the Arizal for Kedusha Shabbos. But even if a person became tameh on Shabbos, you can't go to mikvah according to the Gra. Halacha l'maisa, are you allowed to go to the mikvah on Shabbos? You know the halacha? It's very interesting. Halacha l'maisa, the Mishnah Berurah, Siman Shin Chavav. It's kedai to know this. Mishnah, let me fix this. Adam, Siman Shin Chavav Sivkat Chavdad. Ritzon Alaymer. The Mechaber says that a person could be toivel from Tumah on Shabbos. Even though you're not to be toivel kli on Shabbos, it looks like you're masakin. Adam shani. For a person to be toivel, it's more lenient. Why? Because it looks like you're just cooling off. But what if it's cold outside? Nobody would cool off. And most people don't. What if the mikvah is smelly water? Most people don't cool off in smelly water with, people's, parts floating around in there. He says, "Vafilim ho'ez kar v'gam hamayim sruchim she'en derech lirchotz bahem." Sometimes when a person comes from the road, and he's dirty, sometimes people wash even this kind of water. Therefore, it's mutter to be toivel even if you could have been toivel before Shabbos. Now, the first thing is, minog is that a woman does not go to the mikveh Friday night unless it's her leil tefillah. If let's say her leil tefillah was Wednesday or Thursday, and her husband was out of town, so she said, I'll push it off to Friday night. Can't do it. The minog is a woman only goes to the mikvah if it's tefillah b'zmanon. The kasa opposed to the yafanag. The poskim writes a good minog. Mishum dekimin the soif ha minog b'zmanel lesser b'shavos l'urchos kol aguf. Since nowadays the minog is it's usher to wash your whole body. Afilu b'tsoinein. Imkain, why is the person going to the mikvah? It must be because of tahara and it's mechzik masakin. So it would seem, therefore, that a man should not go to the mikvah for tumas kari on Shabbos. Says in the Mishnah Berurah, he concludes not quite like the Gra. V'kasu achrayim the mikol makam nira the mutar litva l'karya. it is permitted to be toivel if one became a Balkari. Why? The kivan dinis batal hatakana. Since Ezra's takana that you're required to go to the mikvah to daven and to learn is batal. So nowadays you're allowed to daven and learn if you didn't go to the mikvah. So therefore it doesn't really look like you're masakin because you don't need to go in the first place. So if Ezra's takana was in full force that you're not allowed to learn, you're not allowed to daven, then taka, you wouldn't be allowed to go to the mikvah and you wouldn't be allowed to learn a daven. You hear this? If Ezra's takana was in full force, then you would not be able to go to the mikvah because then it would be niruk masakin. But because Ezra's takana is batal, there's no halacha, you're not allowed to learn, you're not allowed to daven anymore. So im came loy mechsik masakin aidei atfila. Some are machmer and they say you should not be toivel for any tumah. So it's a chumrah. Many people, they're machmer not to go to the mikvah on Shabbos. So it comes out, if someone is taka tameh b'tumas kari, it's a chumrah not to go to the mikvah. Umi shenoyeg lahakel, someone who has a custom to be lenient, ein limchos biyadai, don't protest. Ki roi v'achroinim soisin lakuza. Most achroinim say you're allowed to. V'al kalpanim b'nitma b'shaz yomtov gufa nir b'vadai in lahachmer. If someone became tameh on Shabbos itself, there's no reason to be machmer. V'chein nispashen haminag lahater. The minhag is to be mekel. Achi zoher ma'oid shelo yavo yidei schita. You have to be very careful not to come to squeezing, do Isser Gamor. So the bottom line is, if somebody became Tameh on Shabbos, you're allowed to go to the mikvah. If somebody became Tameh before Shabbos, and they did not go before Shabbos, and they want to go on Shabbos, Ein limchos biyadai, but it would be a chumrah not to. The shita of the Gra is never to go on Shabbos. In the Masarav, the Gra brings another reason why you're not to go on Shabbos. The Gra says, so you don't come to Schita. The Gra says, I efshar lizar shalayava yudei Schita. The Sefer Orcha Shabbos brings from Rosh Hashanah Arbach that the Talmidei Hagra, including Reb Chaim Volozhiner, did go to the mikvah on Shabbos. But again, I brought this in only because it's an interesting yediyah that Kedusha's Shabbos is greater Shabbos morning than Friday night. Friday night is Kechala B'Veis Aviha. Shabbos morning is Kechala B'Veis Chamiha. Okay, everyone? Have a great day. Kol tov.
Thank you.
Be well.